Do you remember your 21st birthday? I remember mine, barely. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, the night of my 21st birthday party. And I looked at my boyfriend, Richard, and I said, Richard, let's go home. I'm tired. I've been studying for my upcoming university exams for weeks. I was absolutely exhausted. So I sat on the passenger seat of his blue Citroën Visa. I fell asleep instantly. Next, I don't know what's going on. The car is spinning and vlam! My body, my face crashed and slammed on the side. And then silence. Darkness. After 6 hours, the ambulance picked me up. The first time someone talked to me, I heard nothing. The first time I opened my eyes, I saw nothing. And the first time I tried to talk, I could say nothing. For 5 days, I was in intensive care between life and death. I had 11 broken bones just on my face. My own mom could only identify me because she recognized my feet. I was completely disfigured. I had 28 hours of surgery. Was diagnosed 45% disabled. But worst of it all, I had a broken heart. My boyfriend, Richard, did not survive the car crash. And for weeks, I felt empty, scared, angry. All I could think was, why me? Why now? What's going to happen? Now, eventually, after 5 weeks, the doctor came to my room and said, Cécile, you're now ready to go home. The nurse will help you with a wheelchair. No, I said, no. I arrived here on a stretcher. I want to leave this place on my own. See, I was ready to go back into the world, but this time with my new face. And I crossed the car park, and I passed by a woman who was walking with a little boy. And as soon as she saw me, she hit the eyes of the little boy and said, don't look at that. It's a monster. The night of my 21st birthday, the present I received was to become a monster. Now, since that day, when life knocked me back and nearly out, I didn't just bounce back. I bounced forward. And at the end of this talk, you will know exactly what it means. Now, the physical recovery was challenging, but nothing like the emotional turmoil I went through. And by the way, it doesn't just have to be a car crash. It could be many types of experiences, whatever shakes you to your core. A failed career, a failed relationship, a failed exam. Whatever your difficulty, they need your attention and a roadmap to recovery. So what kind of process do we need to recover? We need personal resilience. Now, if you look at the dictionary, personal resilience is defined as bouncing back after a challenge. I don't like this definition because you never come back the same person after recovery. I bounced forward emotionally, physically. And to bounce forward, I had to be stronger than I've ever been before. But the problem with developing personal resilience is that the world is promoting a big lie. The lie that emotional security should be our default emotional state. Why is this a lie? Well, because sometimes life can feel hard and painful and unfair. Exactly with a car crash. How can you be ready for something you have never experienced? So emotional security is impossible, and actually security is a complete illusion. If you want security, you have to manage risk. And if you want to manage risk, you have to think about every single possible scenario. Let's get realistic. In life, this is not going to happen. Think about it this way. Take your heartbeat as a metaphor for your life. And when you experience the ups and the downs, the joy and the sorrows, the comfort and the pain, you are alive. When the heartbeat is flat, you're dead. Exactly when they pulled me out of that ambulance, I was at a low point. I was in pain, but I was alive. Richard was at peace, no pain. His heart had stopped. So forget about emotional security and welcome emotional maturity through personal resilience. But how do we know that we are resilient? You may think, I'm unfit, I'm not good enough, I'm not resilient. To all that, I say, nonsense. Now, do you remember watching the video of your first steps? You took a step, you stumbled, you fell, you got back up. You took a step, you stumbled, you fell, you got back up, and you repeated the process over and over. Why? Because we are programmed to be resilient, to bounce forward. As a toddler, you wanted to walk, to grab that toy, reach these arms. So you accepted a little pain, a little fear, because the will to walk was stronger than the pain. So consider your first steps as your first test to resilience. And despite what you may think, we all have this capacity. But when life knocks us back, we often forget about the resilient success we had as toddlers. With our family or at school, learning, practicing, developing personal resilience is hardly on the agenda. And when life knocks us back, we're left alone to develop these critical skills. And that's when we feel unfit. And that's when it could create far worse pain. Now, after my car crash, I had no idea if, when, how I would recover. Yet, I did recover. And it's only later, when I was reading about resilience, that I discovered that this topic is very well researched, very well documented. But all this information were not available. So I took my resilience journey and deducted a 3-step process. And it just happened that this specific recovery story follows a pattern that is valid for many, many types of trauma. So how do you recover when life knocks you back? What is the 3-step process to bounce forward? Step number 1, embrace. Surrender to what is happening and trust that eventually the pain will go away. The way I did it, I faced down reality head on, no filter. I'm 45% disabled. My boyfriend died. I was disfigured. I failed my exams. I was a monster. At this stage, there is no time to put a mask on and pretend that everything is okay. It's not. It hurts. It sucks. It's emotionally wrenching. I took a hard look at all my losses, and I cried my eyes out. And my heart was bleeding, and Richard was gone, and I didn't see the end of it. But you know what? There is no shame in hurting. That car crash was not my fault, but the recovery is under my sole responsibility. simply because no one can feel what I feel or hurt like I hurt. So yes, I actually took a look at all my losses and I counted them. So the first, the physical ones. I lost an eye, but I'm not blind. An eardrum was destroyed, but I'm not deaf. My face was broken and numb. What do you think? Well, there is one man you have to think. It's Professor Bézier and his team, a surgeon I could trust. And then there was the emotional losses. I lost someone I loved dearly, but I was not alone. I failed all my university exams, but I can learn what, when I want, and I actually feel that I earned a PhD in life. And then I was angry and disappointed with life. There was no but there. It took a long time to get over that one. So pain and losses can be a great motivator. And yes, look at everything you lose, but make a fair inventory and look at what you have left and how far you can go with it. When you take a hard look at your new reality head on, no filter, you are ready. You are ready to bounce forward. Step number 2. Have a life goal and the courage to stick to your destination. I had a very clear life goal. I wanted to recover and I didn't want to be a monster. So to bounce forward, choose who you want to become. Dream it. Visualize it. Make it vivid. And don't be scared to think and dream big. Now, while I was recovering from my car crash, and despite the fact that I had a very, very clear life goal, I experienced more setbacks. Unemployment, divorce, depression. I felt I was constantly on and off the road, stumbling, falling, just as a toddler trying to walk. So remember, the toddler has a very clear goal to walk. He or she wants to grab the toy or reach this arm. Goals, they grow with our age and our circumstances, so you can bear a little discomfort and stick to your destination to reach your life goal. And whenever I was refocusing on who I wanted to become, that opened up amazing path. Finding out what I was capable of, experiencing emotional resources we all have within, and also meeting generous people, accepting my past, supporting my present, and keep encouraging my future. And if you don't have those people in your life, go and look for them. Ask for help. Now, the sum of all these chaotic experiences of step number 2, the outcome is self-confidence. Self-confidence in your own existence, because there is nothing more rewarding in life than doing something we thought we could not in the first place. Have a life goal and the courage to stick to your destination. This is how you bounce forward. Step number 3, make peace with your past. Once you see the good in all your difficulties, you have taken a huge step forward. Now it's time to tell your story. Why? Because your past should not define you, but it can ground you if you take that last action. I must warn you that you will cry all tears, shed new ones, but you will be able to put your past where it belongs, behind you. And you will be emotionally prepared to reap the benefits of all the lessons learned. Your sadness, anger, resentment will simply fade away. And you will make space for forgiveness, gratitude towards yourself and others. So when you articulate your own story and making peace with your past, you know that you bounced forward. I asked you earlier if you remember your 21st birthday. It took me a long time, but now I understand the gift the monster gave me the night of that tragic evening. The gift of personal resilience. Now, life accident can happen to you as it happened to me, and with exceptional circumstances, unveil exceptional resources. If I could do it, so can all of you. To bounce forward is not about success. It's about having a process. And the outcome of this process is to be confident in your own existence, because there is nothing more rewarding in life than doing something you thought you could not. And it comes only in 3 steps. Step number 1. Have a look at your new reality, head on, no filter. Step number 2. Have a life goal and stick to your destination. Step number 3. Articulate your own story to make peace with your past. Now, the good thing about the gift of personal resilience is the opportunity you have given me today to share it with you. And if or when life knocks you back, don't just bounce back. Go a little further. Bounce forward. Thank you.